welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are here to talk about Love Ever After, some February movies, very exciting. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Anna's here.
Hey, y'all.
And Dory's here.
Hi, everyone.
Yes, thanks so much for both of you coming on. And this is going to be a lot of fun talking about some Valentine's and February movies.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Me too.
And we are not going to cover the, what did they end up calling it? The time loop movie?
Valentine's again.
Yeah. We technically already covered that on our podcast when it aired on Hallmark Movies Now in 2018. So we can put that in there. And I didn't rewatch it, and I don't know. We did not cover it. So that's the only thing we'll be, I guess, technically missing. But we're going to cover the 4 movies for Love Ever After. And then also we're going to talk about Fit for a Prince, because that's just one of those sort of hanging in the middle.
Well,
movies.
Some of us are going to talk about Fit for a Prince.
Yes, Rachel and I.
Guess who did not watch it?
I wonder who.
Now, last year, Love Ever After, the February movies were not my favorite. And there was only one that I enjoyed, which was the Love in Store, which ended up being my favorite non-Christmas from 2020. Mm-hmm. But the others weren't for me. I didn't enjoy them. So I have to say, as a whole, I think I enjoyed this year better than last year. Because,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to agree to that too. Yeah.
The other 2 from last year were very planning parties movies, and that's just not for me.
Yeah.
So well, let's just dive in. It's going to be interesting to see kind of the new flavor that we are getting this year compared to last year. I mean, we're getting more diversity. We're getting a little more representation. I don't know. Dory, you seen any other kind of differences in the movie so far this year, 2021?
I am. I feel like they just have a very different vibe, which I think I'll get into more specifically when we talk about some of these movies, particularly with how the movies are ending. Mm-hmm. I have some very positive thoughts about a couple of the endings to these movies that I really, really loved and appreciated. So it just feels like they're taking more chances, but like as much more chances as Hallmark is willing to take. It's not like a completely different. We're not watching totally different movies than we've ever seen before.
Like it hasn't turned into Lifetime or something like that.
Not yet. It won't. I'm kidding. It won't.
All right. So let's talk about Beverly Hills Wedding. So this movie, it stars Brooke D'Orsay, Brendan Penny, and Matthew McCall. Directed by Paul Ziller. It was written by Joao Boken, but I think it went through a lot of different hands. That when we're talking to her, I got that impression. But the initial story was from her. The summary was: a meddling woman wins her sister an all-paid-for Beverly Hills wedding, but is disappointed to learn her ex will be invited along to help plan. So. Yes. So this movie, it stars, like we said, Brooke D'Orsay, Brendan Penny, and we were pretty skeptical of it going in with our preview show. But I was worried because the wedding planning movies tend to not be my favorite, and this whole idea of sort of the wedding planner and everything like that. I was concerned, and my concerns were met. This one was not my favorite. I didn't really enjoy it very much. And what about you overall? What do you think of this one?
overall, I didn't enjoy it either. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be, like you said. And I was like, okay, here we go. They're complaining, arguing, fighting over all these choices when you're planning a wedding, and they're getting upset with each other about it. And I'm just like, this is depressing. Like, this isn't like entertaining. It's just depressing. Like, you're marrying somebody, be glad you found somebody, compromise, make choices, and just be happy. Like, don't, get lost in all these little, details and get upset. So it was frustrating to me.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Dory? What did you think overall?
Well, I had really low expectations going in, and somehow it was worse than what I thought it would be. I just love Brooke D'Orsay so much, and to make her unlikable is a feat. Like, there have been movies of hers that I have liked less than others, but I've never not liked her.
Right.
And I did not enjoy that character. I thought she was so selfish.
Yeah.
I thought she was so rude. I thought she was so self-involved and uncaring. And I agree with Anne. Like, it was kind of depressing. I was like, this is supposed to be a joyous occasion, a wedding, and like everyone was upset. Everyone was sad, especially the groom. And I was like, I can't deal with this. So
it was so weird because she wins the wedding for her sister, and she then proceeds to completely ignore her sister. It would almost have been, she should have just said, I just want you to plan a party for me. I won the prize, so plan me a party and make it the way I want it. Just not even just plan my birthday party or something like that. Like, that would have been made more sense than like dragging her sister into all this, because every single idea that her sister had was wrong and not good enough, and and she would like literally be scolding her sister, like that she wanted beer at the wedding, that they didn't want to dance the waltz, that they they wanted to have daisies, that
everything wasn't classy enough. I was like, geez, you're insulting my taste or her taste.
Like, if you think about a show like David Tutera, in the My Fair Wedding or whatever, like, he goes out of his way to make the most crazy concepts come to be for his bride. Like, if they want a Texas wedding, he's gonna make it Texas for him. He's gonna, and then he still will make it classy, but the whole thing is to make them happy, and to like, he did Halloween weddings, he did, I mean, just everything you could want, and so I would think that the wedding planner would have kind of realized that, and it doesn't make him look good if the bride and groom hate the wedding.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was annoying too. Like, he was fighting his own demons and letting them get in the way of the wedding. And like, he was really rude and unhappy as well. And I expected that character to be tons of fun. Like, that was the one thing I was like, okay, I think that the planner, like, Rachel, I feel like you and I talked about this, and you said, and I agreed, like, I think the planner is who could make this movie fun. And I mean, boy, were we wrong.
Yeah. And like, in what world is like fancy jam like a new concept? Like, what?
I can't. Like, really?
He gave you jam? Like,
I'm offended. How dare you give me a jar of homemade jam? Come on.
I mean, I've been watching Barefoot Contessa for a long time. She eats jam.
Everybody does.
Martha Stewart eats jam. I mean, this is not a new concept. Like, rich people, like, what is this? Like, he's putting on the bread. Like, this is actually really good. It made me laugh. And this is also another addition in our long line of Hallmark photographers. And she does the way that she kind of staged the proposal and everything like that, and made everything kind of perfect. But it was funny because when Alonzo Giraldi, our friend, was live tweeting, he screenshot a picture of her taking a picture and her fingers right in the front of the lens.
I saw that. That was funny.
He's like, this is going to be a great picture.
Gosh.
And the thing about it is that so the ending wasn't even a satisfying ending because so he comes to the wedding planner comes to the town and says, oh, we're going to do the small town wedding that you want. But they still didn't get the wedding that they wanted. They were still champagne. It was almost like the way that the wedding was, it was almost as if the bride and groom had different ideas and then they needed to compromise the two. But that wasn't the case. The bride and groom had the same idea, and it was the wedding planner and the sister that had the other idea. And so then this compromise wedding didn't make sense because why should they have to compromise anything? They should just get 100%.
What they want.
They should only have like 80% of the wedding they want. They should have 100% of the wedding that they want. They shouldn't have to have the Daisy background. They like we're the Daisy Roses background thing. They should just have what they wanted. They shouldn't have champagne if they don't like champagne. They should have beer at their wedding. Like, who cares? Like, that's crazy to me. And they were still in the tuxes. It was just weird to me. Like, that wasn't very happy ending for a Hallmark movie, I felt.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, none of it felt good. Like, I didn't feel happy at the end. I was just like, ugh, man.
It's finally over.
Yeah, thank you. It's finally over. And I was just, I think it says a lot that we haven't even talked about the main romance because it wasn't great. It did not give me all the feels.
No.
I mean, I love Brendan Penny, but his character was like nothing in this movie, like nothing.
They had no chemistry. They had no chemistry. It wasn't even like an enemy to lovers type chemistry. It wasn't. They just, I don't know. It just was nothing. I agree. Yeah, that's why I had written down no chemistry at all.
Yikes.
No chemistry, and she's a terrible photographer.
Man, this one was a doozy.
Yeah.
It was not a good start. It really is not.
No.
It was bad. It made me scared for like, okay, what does Love Ever After hold for us? Because this is not good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I'll give this I don't know, 1 crown. What about you, Dory?
Man, I feel like 1 is generous. I would give, I guess, half a crown.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked nice, I guess. It was well filmed. That's about all I have for it. Anne, what about you?
You know what? I was trying to be nice, but it really only deserves 1. I have something else written down here, but I can't even say that straight face. So I'm sorry. This movie literally depressed me, so it doesn't deserve higher than that.
So let's move on. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. From Amazon best-selling author Esther Hatch comes a fresh and fun Victorian-era rom-com, Manor for Sale, Baron Included. Lord Farnsworth would rather rot in debtor's prison than sell the one place that feels like home to him, his mother's manor. That is, until he meets the charming woman who wants to buy it. Suddenly his plans become clear. Sell her the home and then woo her to the altar. What could possibly go wrong? If you enjoy your historical romance sweet and clean with a large dose of humor, Hatch weaves the perfect story for you. See why readers are saying, quote, from the first page, this book had me grinning from ear to ear. Esther's beautiful writing style and lovable characters make you fall in love instantly and invest yourself in the story until the very end. Manor for Sale, Baron Included is available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle, also available in Kindle Unlimited. So check out the new novel, Manor for Sale, Baron Included. And we had a episode of our podcast with Esther where we dove more into the book. So you should definitely check that out as well. It's a really fun, dishy read. So we have Playing Cupid. And this stars Lara Vandervoort and Nicholas Gonzalez, and directed by David Weaver and written by Nina Wyman based on a novel. And it is a modern day Emma finds David Martinez being secretly set up with his daughter's teacher when the young girl begins a matchmaking business for a school project. So I'm just going to start out this discussion by saying this is not like Emma at all.
I feel like we've had this conversation every time they try and do some Jane Austen retelling. This is so not Emma.
No, just because there's some kind of overall matchmaking going on, that doesn't make it Emma. Yeah. Emma is particularly your lead heroine, it gets involved with her friend who she thinks isn't with the right person, tries to set her up with another person. That person ends up being in love with her. And so things get all messy, right? And it turns out that her BFF is the one that she's in love with all along, but she doesn't realize it until the very end. And that's Emma. There was none of those elements in this movie at all. There's no Mr. Knightley. There's no Harriet. There's no nothing.
So I haven't seen Emma. So you're saying that they basically tried to sell alone on the matchmaking that it's Emma, like matchmaking equals Emma. That's like the only thing.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. So Emma, have you seen Clueless?
Yes.
Okay. So Emma is Clueless. That's a correct adaptation, modern day adaptation, where in Emma, she's trying in Clueless, she's trying to make tie up for her friend who ends up actually being in love with her. And then she's not interested in that. It turns out her BFF, who, Josh, is the one she's actually in love with. That's Emma.
Okay, I see.
That's Emma. This is not Emma at all. And so let's just get that way out of the way up front, because that's ridiculous and it drives me crazy. They always do that with Hallmark movies, and just once I'd really like them to actually make a real Jane Austen movie.
Agree.
You definitely should be a consultant if they do that.
Please,
you can tell them.
Call me.
This is how you do it right.
Yeah, if you want a good example, there was actually one. I think it was not last year, the year before, called Pride, Prejudice, Atlanta, that was on Lifetime. And it was very charming. It had the dad from Family Matters in it, and it updated Pride and Prejudice. Pretty much all the beats were right. They got all the characters right, and they did a very good job.
That's high
so
praise.
It is possible. It is possible. It is very possible. So other than that, I have to say I actually really enjoyed this movie. I was able to get beyond it. I even reviewed it over on my channel for Family Movie Night. I thought it was very sweet, and I liked Lara Vandervoort and Nicholas Gonzalez quite a bit, and the whole idea of her being a teacher and trying to make it, and kind of this new moving to Seattle and trying to feel at home, and should she move back, and I thought it had a lot of sweet moments, like when they're singing in the restaurant and when they're dancing, and the little girl was, I thought, really cute. So overall, I enjoyed it. What do you think, Dory, overall?
I liked it too. I thought it was really cute. I loved the daughter, and I loved that she did a matchmaking business for her project. I thought that was so cute. I thought they had good chemistry. I liked that we got some Mexican culture involved. I thought that was a cool take. And like you, all Emma complaints aside, I thought this was really cute, and I thought it was a nice bounce back from Beverly Hills Wedding.
Yeah.
It was this felt like a treat, and I definitely didn't leave it feeling depressed like we did for Beverly Hills Wedding. It was cute.
Yeah. Would you agree, Anne?
Yeah, I really love this movie. So this is like one of those movies where it's like, from the description and the people cast in it, it's like destined for me to like it. But as we all know, that doesn't mean it's actually gonna be destiny that you actually love it. So I'm happy to say that it was destined for me to love it, and I loved it. So I mean, like you guys said, I love the chemistry. I love Nicholas and Laura. I've always wanted them to be part of this family, and so seeing them together in this movie was just magical to me because I just love them both.
He was new to me. I've never seen him in anything. What is he on?
He's very good. He is on The Good Doctor most recently, but back in the day he was on the OC, and he did a few other things too. But that was what I remembered him from a long time ago. But I watched The Good Doctor so I've seen him recently too, and I love both of them. I love the diversity. A lot of times the movies with a very kid-centric storyline, I don't really like. Throw tomatoes at me. I don't have children. I don't know. I guess I don't relate, but it can be harder for me to like those. And so this one, I guess they did it really well because I really liked her. I thought she did a great job. I liked how her story is, and how it was all interconnected. So I just thought it was a really cute, sweet movie. And I also really love that sexy baking scene. That was really good.
I love that.
I love that. So
this one was a good one. This was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very cozy. And like I said, the scene where they're singing, they're lip syncing, that was very fun.
Love that too.
And it kind of reminded me of we had just done Stepmom, where they also lip sync to Ain't No Mountain High Enough in that movie. We just reviewed that for On Friendship. So I don't know, it was pretty fun. And they also have a pretty early kiss in this movie, which was nice. And there's also like the little kind of side relationship between the little girl and her crush, which was cute, I thought. Sweet, like a sweet little middle school relationship.
Yeah. I know, they were so cute.
Yeah. And he's also divorced and are going through a divorce, and sort of how they handled that was they didn't make him a widower, as much as we love hot widowers.
And they also brought the mom into it, which I appreciated because like I was getting kind of nervous because I don't always like when the ex or the mother is a real pain. And that's how it started, right? Like they were having these phone calls, and you could tell it felt contentious. And then in the end, the mom gets there and she's like supportive of him having a relationship, and really was just probably stressed out because she wasn't near her daughter. And she's like, I'm moving back and I'm really proud of my kid. Like, I like how they wrapped that up, because the perception from the beginning was like, oh man, this woman is a pain. She's going to come back. She's going to try and get the dad back. Like, what are we going to do? But I love how they wrapped that up. And she was just like super nice and supportive and was like, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought the conflict of her, is she going to move back home, was pretty believable, because she'd only been there less than a year. She moved there for her boyfriend, and then he ended up dumping her. And so it was pretty believable, because sometimes those kinds of things are so ridiculous. You don't believe it for a second that they're really going to move, or they're going to, do whatever. And so, but I thought it was believable for her character that she would be, kind of debating this. And so, yeah. And then, all the cooking scenes, like you said, the swoon-worthy scene where they're baking, and they're making the abuela sangrias. I thought that was and so, yeah, overall, I was really charmed by this movie. I would give it 4 crowns out of 5. What about you, Dory?
I would give it 3.5.
What about you, Anne?
I would say 4.5.
All right. Okay. So then we have Mix Up in the Mediterranean. And this stars Jessica Lowndes and Jeremy Jordan and director Jonathan Wright and writers Julie Kim and Karine Marwood, who Dory and I were really privileged to get to interview them. So that was really fun.
Yeah, they were great.
And a small town cook impersonates his estranged big city chef twin to compete in a culinary contest in Malta and falls for the woman in charge of the event who thinks he is gay. So, so this one to me, it really captured the feel of the sort of screwball comedy from the like 1940s, 1950s. That kind of where everyone's lying and there's all kind of misconceptions and deceptions, and it gets kind of ridiculous, but it's really fun along the way. And if people have seen someone like Christmas in Connecticut, where she's lying the whole time about who she is for the soldier, and that kind of madcap mistaken identity kind of movie is really fun, and it's something that you don't see that much. So for a long time we've talked about it on the podcast, so we wish that Hallmark would embrace that a little bit more, because I think it is kind of a niche type of movie that's just not being made by anybody right now. So and they had a couple more silly movies in December for the Countdown to Christmas. One of them I didn't love so much. One of them I thought was really funny. The one I really liked was the Cross Country Christmas. Yeah, that one I thought worked really well. But I'm glad to see them kind of taking those risks, even if they don't always pay off. I think it's good that they're kind of dipping their toes in that a little more comedic films a couple times a year. I think is a good thing. So overall, I really enjoyed this. I thought this was funny. It was nutty. It was weird, but I enjoyed it. What about you, Dory?
I thought it was super fun. Like, I was really delighted. I love Jeremy Jordan. I just think he's the best, and he was so funny as both brothers. And I don't think I've ever liked Jessica. How do you say her last name?
I think it's Lowndes.
Lowndes. I've never liked her better than I did in this movie. Like, she just felt really kind of like fresh and light and joyful. And I've never liked her more than in this performance. I thought that they had great chemistry. I thought they were super cute together.
Yeah.
My only complaint is, why film it in Malta if we're not going to see much Malta?
Oh my gosh, thank you. I thought I was the only person that thought that. I was like, did we get one spot? We saw her by the fountain, everything at the place. That's it.
Yeah. And I was sitting there like, because they have these great wide shots of like a city in the distance, and I was like, but I want to go there. I want to go to that city and like see what's going on instead of just sitting in a hotel. That was really my one gripe about the movie, because, and it's called Mix Up in the Mediterranean. Like, I want to see some Mediterranean. They didn't even like go to the beach. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, there weren't even like scenes of them sort of walking along the beach very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit tricky when you have this dynamic of, she thinks that he's married and gay, but they're allowing this kind of relationship to sort of grow, and so that's a little awkward, but it was fine. Like I was willing to accept it, but it's kind of a tough premise to pull off, I think, a little bit sometimes.
They did. I did enjoy that they kept getting closer and closer, like physically. Like, it starts out, they're just kind of, you can tell they just like each other, just generally they have a good vibe. And then they hug every time they leave each other. And then she gets excited and she hugs him and she kisses him on the cheek. And I'm like, all right, well, this is progressing, even though you know that he is a happily married gay gentleman. But I liked that, though. It's like they just couldn't resist. They were feeling each other and they just couldn't resist.
At the very least, I would think it would be very confusing for her. If that was happening to me, I would be
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, what's happening?
I know. She was going into her hotel room at night like, were we flirting? He's gay, though.
Yeah.
Do I like him? He's married, though. You know.
Yeah. But I forget their names. I just called the one is Diner Chef and one is Fancy Chef. So Diner Chef, I think that that Jeremy did him very charming, and he's obviously kind of the true lead character. But I think Fancy Chef brother, he was sometimes a little bit of a jerk, and I'm like, this guy is doing you a major favor. Like, maybe be a little more grateful.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. And he was very insecure about the food that he's making and everything like that, but it's not like he's just completely untrained. Like, he's a chef. Like, I don't know, that I think they were very careful, but I think it helped a lot that Henry, I think was the name of the husband, that he was kind of cool and supportive and nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, it kind of made you like Fancy Chef better, because Henry was so nice. And
sure. He definitely balanced out that relationship.
Yeah. And it was quite the setup. I mean, the idea that they have these tracking bracelets that they cannot remove.
I know. It was like competition arrest.
Yeah.
Like they were on food contest arrest.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is a lot. When she said that bracelet was waterproof, I was like, okay. They're really going for it with this.
I mean, I'll have to tell you guys, when I went to the Hallmark thing in Memphis, they gave us like a plastic one. It was just plastic specifically so that you didn't have the excuse about the shower, because they said if this is removed or if it looks tampered with in any way, like it's been moved from another person to you, you will not be allowed in. And they were like, well, serious. They were like, there can be no cut mark, there can be nothing. After this on, you cannot remove it. I was like, oh my God. So these people are real serious about this stuff. It's real.
That's more intense than D23.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, D23 costs like a bajillion dollars. No, it was crazy. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, do not remove it. Even my dad's like, Yvette, be careful. You always mess this stuff up, to my mom. I was like, oh my God. Okay, this is like life and death serious.
D23, you just have like a lanyard with your like.
Oh my gosh!
And you just scan in. Yeah,
that's so shocking. I know it's so expensive. I can't believe it's just a lanyard. Wow.
Yeah, and then I think maybe for like a special event or something, they give you but it's just like paper.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah,
maybe not that unrealistic after all then.
Yeah, there you go.
It was funny to me. And you've got to have, in this kind of screwball comedy, you have to have that moment where the one person says, I could never be with a liar. I could never be with somebody who lies. And then there's the whole scene where the power goes out, and you have I think his name was Etienne or whatever. You have the bad guy. He sabotages everything, and
like a true French villain.
Yeah, that's right.
He might as well have been like twisting the mustache.
Yeah.
And he gets disqualified, but then Fancy Chef, they don't get disqualified. Oh, I guess it's Diner Chef. He doesn't get disqualified because he signed his name Jay instead of his full name. So they get him out with a technicality because he didn't technically lie, because he just put Jay. Jay Northrop or whatever it was. And I'm like, wow. I don't know, that was funny to me. And I mean, they have the rules, so they have this impenetrable bracelet, but as long as he signs J.
Right. No one like checked his signature yet. They've got them on house arrest. Interesting.
Well, and they're really mad at her for letting this happen. And I'm like, how on earth could she have possibly known that this was going to happen? I mean, she's gonna have the foresight, the idea that the brothers are, that there's a twin and the brothers are switching places, and like, it's crazy. So I thought that was interesting. I mean, not much of a scandal there. And so then at the end, the boys cook side by side and they make baked Alaska. It's very charming. And then you see 2 months later, and she's there at the restaurant. It's the new restaurant. It's called J&J Northrop. It's very fancy. And everything, of course, turns out for the best. So yeah, this one was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I would give it 3.5 crowns. What about you, Anne?
I would say 3.25.
And what about you, Dory?
I would also say 3.5.
Okay. Now we have It Was Always You. And this movie, if people want to hear a true love fest for this movie, Cammie and Caroline and Carrie did a whole episode just recapping this movie because they loved it so much. So we'll put a link down in the description. You can check out their full hour-long episode on it. So this movie stars Tyler Hynes, Aaron Krakow, Giles Panton, Alicia Rotaro, Paula Shaw, and Nelson Wong. Huge, great cast. And it's directed by Michael Robson. And it's Elizabeth's engagement plans are thrown into disarray when her fiance's free-spirited brother David returns home. David's unexpected influence prompts Elizabeth to question her life decisions. So this movie, I didn't hate it. It was okay for me, but I had some issues. I did not love it as much as our friends that did the special episode. And I'll go into it a little bit more. But Dory, what was your overall thoughts about it?
It was okay. I also didn't really love it. I just felt like it was very basic. Like it was your basic, we're planning this thing movie, you know, like they did all of the stuff, the registering, the cake tasting, you know, it just felt like the thing we've seen a bunch of times. And I really like Tyler Hynes though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's very cute, and he was very cute in this movie, and he knows how to wear a sweater, which I appreciate. But I mean, it just felt like very basic to me, which there had been a lot of hype about this movie, and it, like you said, it had like an all-star Hallmark cast, so I wanted a little bit more, but I didn't hate it. It was okay.
Yeah. So, Anne, what about you? What do you think overall?
From what Dory said, I think I liked it more than she did, but I definitely thought it had its issues. It's so funny. I was thinking this is the most risque movie, and then I'm thinking, wait, the one we just talked about was more risque than this because he was actually married. So these are both just two risque Hallmark movies here. So that's not my favorite. That she's falling for her brother's her fiance's brother.
Yeah.
And that's not my favorite storyline, but I thought they had good chemistry. I like the swoon-worthy dancing scenes. I like the idea of kind of pushing someone outside their comfort zone to an extent. I think he kind of pushed it sometimes too much. But I think it like she said, I want to travel. If she said like it's something she wants to do, but she hasn't, okay, encourage her to do it. But don't try to make her change things that she likes.
Right.
If it's like, oh, I've always wanted to try this food. Oh, well, let's try this food. You know, like if it's something she wants to do but hasn't done, I'm all for the encouragement to do it, but if you're trying to change the kind of things that she likes and I just don't really like that. Just because I feel like they're talking to me because I'm very simplistic in the things I like, and maybe I'm just offended, but I just didn't, I thought he kind of pushed it a little much when they were in the store, kind of dissuading her taste.
I agree. We're going to talk about that for sure. My favorite part about this movie for sure was the relationship between Eugene and Louise, because I thought that was so sweet.
That's sweet.
I wish that we could have had the whole movie about them. Nothing against other people. They were so cute. I loved them. And their wedding at the end was so cute. And I really could have had a whole movie just about them. I thought they were so great.
I know. And we got to see a real revolution of that relationship, or evolution, I should say, because she would not give him the time of day really at the beginning. And then by the end, she was like, actually, he's really nice.
Yeah. And I don't know why Nelson Wong seems to always be playing delivery people of some sort.
I know. I thought that too.
I know. I feel like I've seen him in that blue jacket like a million times.
No. But I just loved the two of them together, and how thoughtful they were. And once she kind of let her guard down, they were very cute. So that was my favorite part of the movie. So they're going up to visit his family. They're both dentists together, and she is kind of pushing him like, we should do this 6-week trip to Peru for the honeymoon. And for somebody that's not super adventurous, that's probably a big ask. Like, why don't you say, let's get a cottage by the beach for 2 weeks, or you know what I mean? Like, baby steps. Or baby steps to ziplining in Peru for 6 weeks. Is what I would say. Because I would be like, oh, I don't know. There's
and it didn't really feel like she kind of brought it up and he shot her down, and that was the end of the conversation. And I was like, if this is something you really want, that has to be a more extensive conversation, and it has to be something you bring up more than once. You know what I'm saying? It just felt, I don't know. She was just, it seemed like she was kind of like, well, I tried. And I'm like, but did you? Because you didn't really have a conversation. You just kind of, you both just kind of moved on. And that seemed like the story of their relationship. It was just like every time there was an uncomfortable discussion to be had, they'd be like, nah, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 6 weeks is a long time.
That is a long time.
How could she afford this? Doesn't she have, loans, medical school loans and stuff? She can't go on 6 weeks on.
That's exactly what he was saying.
He was like, we can't leave our clients this long.
Right. He was like, I can't leave the business that we share together for 6 weeks.
I mean, my parents, their honeymoon, first of all, they went to Las Vegas, which is really hilarious because my mother hates Las Vegas. And then they went camping for a couple days. I mean,
that's cute.
When you're young and in love, you make it work.
Yeah.
But so then they go, and evidently there's only one restaurant in this town that they go to. They're in Seattle, for goodness sakes, which is one of the peak gourmet food towns. It's a huge foodie town, Seattle. And they're in Seattle, but there's only this one restaurant, and they only will serve oysters and pie. And if you don't eat the oysters, then you can't eat the pie.
That was terrible to me. I'm like, let people eat pie just for the love of pie. What? I hate oysters. I'm like, do not make me eat 20 oysters. I will cry.
You'll cry and puke. That's asking a lot of people. And also, you're just turning away people's money. We'd rather not serve you a thing than to just let you pay $5 for some pie. I can't.
It was like some kind of fraternity or something like that.
It was weird. Yeah.
It's really weird. And the pie, I have never seen lemon pie that high before. The meringue
was a big piece of pie.
Yeah, the meringue was so high.
Yeah, that was a big. I've never seen a key lime pie that large ever.
Yeah. So the whole idea is that they were neighbors growing up, lived across the street. And so she evidently had maybe kind of a troubled home. She would go over to their house and she would love being at their house. And so you have the introduction of David, and he's supposed to be this like bohemian guy. And of course, Tyler Hines is amazing. But he started off with me on the wrong foot to begin with when he wakes everyone up at 2 a.m. blasting his music, and he's like, I'm on Tibet time or whatever. And I'm like, I would be so angry because it is so hard for me to get to sleep. I struggle. I have insomnia. I struggle getting to sleep. If someone wakes me up and disrupts my REM cycle, that is very upsetting. I would be very upset about that. And so that was like so rude.
I know. It also, like,
so mad.
Is it a thing that free spirits do, like, to be completely inconsiderate and disturb an entire household? Like, that doesn't read as free spirit to me. That reads as jerk. And I agree with you. I was not feeling that.
I would be so mad.
It was stupid. He's not a kid.
It was a weird way to introduce the character because, I mean, it's not like, I don't know, maybe if he was like eating weird food or, I don't know, just doing something else that's just about him. But the fact that he would be so careless about other people was a very strange way to introduce the character, I thought. And so then basically what happens is they get a call and George ends up going back to do a surgery or whatever. And he ends up getting stuck across the bridge. So he can't be there. Of course. And so then David ends up helping her to plan the wedding. And like Anne said, my main problem with this film was I felt like he just mansplained the heck out of everything to her. Every single choice that she made had to be corrected and modified and wasn't good enough and wasn't right. And again, like Anne said, that it's one thing if it's something that she's not doing that she wants to do, but like selecting white plates is completely valid and like actually quite smart and functional because you can use them year round. For any holiday or celebration, you can use white plates. And why anybody would want to buy those like weird tchotchkes that he's trying to get her to buy that like serve no purpose. Like, why does she want some weird pig statue in her house?
Yeah,
like,
oh my gosh, disagree. I love pigs. I love pigs. They're my favorite animal. And at that part, I was like, you know what? I would totally buy 5 of the pigs. Like, they are so cute. Gold with their little wings. Come on. Disagree. Hard disagree. I loved the pigs. They were the best thing in there. They were the best thing in there.
I was just like, but it's just something to collect dust. Like, I would not want that in my house.
Never. No. I would take care of those pigs. I'm telling you. I love them.
Well, now I know whenever Dory gets engaged, I would know now to buy weird
pigs. Yes.
Weird pig statues for my kitchen.
Listen, I have so much pig stuff in my apartment. You guys have no idea. Like, I'm looking.
We really don't.
I am looking right now at a pig ice cream scoop and a pig can opener and a pig sponge holder. People always get me pigs because they know I love them. So
that's funny.
That resonated with me, but had it been literally any other animal, I would have been like, ew, that's stupid.
Yeah, pretend it's crocodile statues.
Yeah, I'd be like, come on, why do you need that? But a pig, that's different.
Yeah. Well, but it was that way with everything. So she wanted vanilla cake. Oh, you can't have vanilla cake. You have to have some weird cake.
Which I take offense to because I love vanilla everything. Vanilla cake, vanilla ice cream. I did not like that. Never shame someone for liking vanilla. It's the superior flavor.
She's a doctor and a professional. She can like whatever she wants to like and select out her plates that she wants.
I agree. Totally agree.
It's not like she's a teenager. She's a grown woman and doctor who's been like, assumingly she's been making her own choices for many years. So I was pretty irritated with him, and I I don't know. But then they did have some nice scenes, like you were saying, with the dancing. The breakup was actually, I thought, really well done, and George was just winning points for me all over the place. They have them dancing to "How Do I Live," and I guess somebody on Twitter was saying it wasn't Leanne Rimes. I guess
it was the Trisha Yearwood
Yearwood.
version.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't realize that at first, but I was like, oh, that's interesting, you know, because he was in the movie with Leanne Rimes. But that was a good scene. And
I have to say, I love how they handled the end of this movie. I thought I thought the end of this movie was perfect.
It was the best
and
part.
Yeah. Totally agree. And best part, I love that she didn't immediately end up with the brother, like going from one brother to another, because that would have been super gross and weird. I love that she made the call to end things. I love that she decided that she was going to go and do her traveling for 6 months, whatever. By herself, exactly. And that she didn't need, you know, the whole movie where he's trying to like tell her how to live her life. She did her own thing. And I loved that.
Yeah.
Thought
Plus
it was
they
perfect.
Let's say George and I mean, they had Eugene and Louise's wedding, which was so cute.
It was very cute. And I also loved how the last scene of the movie with them in the treehouse, I thought that was a really cute scene too.
Yeah, I like
so that. I really like, and I didn't talk about this when we talked about the Mediterranean movie, but I liked the end of that too, where he gave her time. He was like, I'm going to give you your 2 months to figure out if this is something you want. And I really like that. Like, I really like when women are given the time and space to come to decisions on their own and to live their lives and to do their own thing. And if it's meant to be, they'll come back together. I'm a firm believer in that. And I really liked that ending. I like that in both movies. And I think that's kind of different for Hallmark. Like, we don't always see that with these movies. So I like, if that's a new direction they're going in, I'm really feeling it.
I also liked whenever they were being all cuddly and watching movies or the dating show that she wanted to watch. That was really cute. And yeah, the only thing with the treehouse, because that treehouse was amazing.
Oh my god!
But I would definitely build in a staircase of some kind,
oh
like
my
that
gosh,
rope ladder.
That was crazy. Yeah.
I mean, I would have some kind of wooden ladder or something like that.
Yeah, at least have a wooden ladder. I mean, come on. That was just too hard. That was crazy.
I was also laughing at him playing his guitar in the treehouse, like with his leg dangling, like trying to look so cool. And I was like, I know you're going for like cool guy here, but you look ridiculous. You're in a treehouse, just strumming your guitar. I was like, all right, come on.
But I think after this, we need a Hallmark movie with a swoon-worthy dentist.
Do we?
Because yeah,
really.
I think we do.
Has there ever been anyone else who's been a dentist?
I
was thinking, when I saw that, I was like, I don't think I've ever seen another female dentist, but maybe I just haven't seen that.
The movie that I was thinking of the whole time I was watching this movie was I think it was called Bridal Wave.
I was thinking that too. Wasn't he a
with
dentist?
Andrew Walker?
Oh, I think remember he was a dentist.
A plastic surgeon.
But they work together.
A very similar plot. Yeah. They both work together in the doctor's office. She's gonna get married. They go, and then you've got the free-spirited Andrew Walker.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And so anyway, I probably prefer that one over this, but it was okay. I would give it 3 crowns. What about you, Dory?
I would give it 2.5 based solely on the last 10 minutes. Those were stellar. Loved them.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it.
What about you, Anne?
I would say 3.75.
Oh, okay,
So
good.
I'm higher, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So Fit for Prince is our last one. And so this movie, we just talked for just a second about the bonkers poster that they have
Yeah,
for this
what
movie.
in the world? Dory, yes, you know about the poster.
Well, I have to say, like, as usual, I'm blaming Rachel for something. I'm blaming her for the fact that I did not watch this movie because she sent me the poster and I was like, I'm not watching this.
Because it looks like a joke.
It looks, thank you, Anne. They made it look like a freaking joke. I was like, I'm not watching this. Like, this looks so stupid.
It was
It
really bad.
reminded me of when on Seinfeld, when they would go to the movies on Seinfeld, they'd always have these pictures, these fake posters. And it would be there's one where she wants to get into sack lunch. And it's this picture of all these people there's like a lunch sack. I don't know. And, but she ends up having to see the English patient instead. And she hates it. Elaine hates it so much. And she was like, I just want to go to sack lunch. And
I think I've seen that.
And they would always have ridiculous fake posters, and it reminded me of that, but it was real. It was a real poster, and I guess they were trying to do like Devil Wears Prada meets Cinderella in the poster because there's a shoe in the Devil Wears Prada poster, but there's not a pink shoe in this entire movie. First of all, no. And it just looked so weird and ridiculous, and yeah, it was a big fail. But nevertheless, it stars Natalie Hall and Jonathan Keltz and directed by Maria Gabriaca and writer T. Booker Jones. And it's Cindy is an aspiring fashion designer whose talents have been the creative force behind a high-profile designer, but longs to strike out on her own. Hired to dress the ladies of a wealthy family hosting an upcoming charity ball, Cindy's life takes an unexpected turn when Prince Ronan, in town to attend the gala, becomes smitten with her and also takes note of her talent for design. So, Anne, overall, what do you think of this one?
Okay, my first question is this an acquisition, correct?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so for an acquisition, maybe that's not the right way to talk about it, but for an acquisition, I definitely like it a lot better than other acquisitions compared to regular movies. Definitely not as good, but I liked it. I mean, I thought it was okay. I like Natalie, and I thought it had some cute moments, and that he was certainly smitten with her, which was kind of sweet and cute.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I didn't mind watching it. But you will never hear me say that this is a quality film.
Yeah.
But it was something to watch on a Saturday, I guess. I've certainly seen worse, that's for sure. Yeah. They have her working for this designer person, and they basically have, it's like a giant sweatshop. These people who are working.
Oh, yeah. Rachel,
what? No, I'm totally serious. These people who are working for this woman, they're working day and night, 24/7.
They're working hard.
And she's trying to get them to have like one day off, and the lady's like, no, you can't have a day off. Because they got to make more dresses for these people, and they're like, they haven't had a day off in like a month, like months or whatever. And I'm thinking, this is not legal. Yeah. You can't do this. I know it's made in Canada and they have different laws there, but you can't have a sweatshop.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
this
that was pretty intense.
Ridiculous.
But what did you think of sort of all the catty women, Anne?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I was like, this is exactly what you expect from a royal movie. And, the mom wants him to be with this one, and all, they all, of course, want to be with him because he's, royalty. And I mean, I thought it was to be expected. I wasn't, surprised, but I was like, oh, here we go. Catty women, all trying to claw for him. So, yeah.
And I love Natalie Hall, and she's so sweet. But I think if you're going to watch a Natalie Hall princess movie, I think her legit Hallmark movie, A Winter Princess, is better than this.
Definitely.
Yeah, we did. We had her. We just watched it in January for our patron watch along with Natalie, and we really do love her. And she's very sweet in this, and she's working very, very hard. She's not getting the credit. But he was pretty swoon worthy, I think, and he was just so obviously smitten with her from the very beginning, and making excuses of when he can be with her and see her. And overall, what did you think of the fashion, Anne? Did you think the dresses were pretty?
The ones that she made?
Yeah.
I thought they were okay. I liked more of the floral stuff she was actually wearing, just as my personal preference. But I thought the stuff that she made was okay.
Yeah. And there were times when I wondered if it was originally going to be a Christmas movie, because there was a lot of green and reds going on. And
that's interesting.
Yeah. And then there's one point where a whole bunch of the dresses get covered in chocolate in the chocolate fountain, and that was pretty sad. But I didn't understand why she didn't just take them to dry cleaners.
Yeah, I wondered that too. I was like, okay, yeah, I got all over it, but couldn't you at least try to do that instead of make like 6 new dresses overnight? Yeah. Which is literally like being in a sweatshop.
Wait. Back it all the way up. Back it all the way up. There was a chocolate fountain.
Yes.
There was an incident with the chocolate fountain.
Yeah, the dresses all get pushed over, and they all get covered in the chocolate fountain. So then she has to make 6 new dresses overnight.
Overnight?
Yeah, and
like in like 10 hours.
So the prince guy helps her, and
I'm sorry, in the sweatshop?
Sweatshop with all the other workers.
Like he's behind a sewing machine, like helping out.
Yeah, and there's like 10 or so other women who are just like nameless. We don't get to know that are your sweatshop workers.
It's the work environment's very cruel. It's like pretty bad. Like, this is not good.
I'm blown away right now.
Like, you have to watch this movie now, Dory.
I mean,
have we convinced you?
I only know one thing for sure, and that's that this movie will in no way be more entertaining than listening to you guys discuss it.
That's true.
Like, what? So what? He goes to the sweatshop to help her. A prince?
Yes.
That's
love. He was smitten with her for real. Like,
and she falls asleep on his shoulder, which was cute.
Oh, yeah.
I liked that. That was cute. They also have a scene where they almost kiss, but then the sprinklers go on. And I'm like, man, I'm kissing the prince. The sprinklers are not.
Yeah. Let the sprinklers. Yeah. Let the water flow.
And there's also a scene where the mean girls convince her that they're having a casual party instead of a formal party. So she shows up in basically a t-shirt and jeans to this party, and I'm thinking, if it's a royal, even casual party, I'm probably at least wearing a dress of some kind.
Yeah, like a casual dress at least. Yeah.
Especially if she's a designer. Like,
yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So, but nevertheless, they're trying to embarrass her, but she doesn't let that embarrass her. And so they have some nice dancing scenes in this. Her final dress is this kind of cobalt blue sparkly dress that I thought was very pretty, and that she looked very good in. And she finally gets the credit from the designer lady. I think her name was Rebecca. At the end, the prince makes her acknowledge that it was actually her designs, and so I guess that's a good moment. And they had pretty good chemistry, I have to say. I think so. They had pretty good chemistry, but yeah, it was a pretty bonkers movie.
It sounds like it. I'm going to have to go back and watch it now.
You have to, yeah.
Yeah.
And then just tell us what you think about everything.
I'll let you guys know, but I mean...
But Anne...
you've made me want to watch it more than I did before, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. hopefully the sweatshop employees are treated better under Natalie's character than under her other lady.
Wait, she takes over?
Or she's starting her own. I can't remember.
Please don't start your own sweatshop, girl.
I think she's starting her own business.
Let's hope that she has just a couple employees that she treats very well.
Yeah. Yes. So, what would you give this one, Anne?
Okay, it's definitely better than Beverly Hills Wedding because I was not depressed. So I was amused. So like 2.5.
Yeah, I actually agree. I'd also give it a 2.5 just for Natalie and for there were some cute scenes and the chemistry. But yeah, there's definitely it's not the best.
I love what Anne said. Well, it didn't depress me, so
it deserves better than that. Yeah, that's not a good bar to have.
The bar is on the floor. It didn't depress me.
It's low. Beverly Hills Wedding, that movie is, oh my god.
Yeah,
that was rough.
It's really bad. Well, so my favorite was Playing Cupid out of all these.
Me too.
My favorite was Mixed Up in the Mediterranean, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I did love Playing Cupid too. They were probably tied for me. They're both great.
Mm-hmm. So very good. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking about these films. This was really fun. It's always a great time having both of you on. And Dory, where can people find you?
You can find me at All the Feels Pod on Twitter, on Facebook, and All the Feels Podcast, wherever you download your podcasts.
Great. And Anne, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at awscott21.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So make sure to check that out. And I have weekly family movie nights where you could have seen Playing Cupid reviewed on there. So check that out. And also make sure you're following the podcast, the Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave us your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our merch store, which has tons of fun designs. And then we have our patron group, which you can have cool experiences where you get to hear from content makers and talent and hear the behind the scenes of these films. Like we had Natalie Hall, and we are having this month, we are having Paul Campbell as our patron watch along guest. And so that's going to be so much fun on the 27th. So it's only $2 a month to join. You definitely check it out. We would really appreciate it. And thanks so much, everybody. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.